My name is Clara. I'm 28 years old and I live in a quiet neighborhood in Seattle called Maplewood Heights. It's a peaceful place filled with tall trees, cozy cafes, and warm-hearted neighbors. From the outside, my life looks good. I have a husband, a charming apartment, and a steady job at a local bookstore. But inside, I am not happy. Every morning, I wake up with a heaviness in my chest. A year ago, I made a choice that changed everything. I married Daniel. He's 32, thoughtful, calm, and always wears a gentle smile. He's the kind of man many women would dream of. But I didn't marry him out of love. I married him because I was heartbroken and desperate to move on from Julian, my ex-boyfriend who left me shattered. I thought saying yes to Daniel's proposal would heal me. I believed that maybe, in time, love would grow. But it didn't. And now, I live with the guilt of pretending, of holding back from someone who gives me everything. Daniel tries so hard. He brings me tulips on Fridays, cooks dinner when I'm exhausted, leaves little love notes in my bag, and always kisses my forehead, calling me my sunshine. But I feel cold inside because I know I can't give him the same love in return. One night we sat on the balcony under the stars. Daniel turned to me and said, "Clara, I know you don't love me yet, but I believe you will. I'll wait. My love is strong enough for both of us." His words made my chest tighten. I wanted to cry because he had hope, and I had none. My mother used to say, "Clara, love can grow with time. Marriage is built on kindness, not just passion." I tried to believe her. I gave it time. But the more days passed, the more I felt like a stranger in my own life. One Friday, Daniel prepared my favorite dinner, chicken pasta and garlic bread. He wore the navy shirt I once said I liked. He lit candles, played soft jazz, and said, "This is all for you, Clara. You mean everything to me." I smiled politely. I thanked him. But inside, I felt nothing. I felt like an actress playing the role of a loving wife. After dinner, he suggested a walk to the park nearby, the same place where he had proposed to me a year earlier, under an old maple tree. "Remember this place?" he said, his eyes filled with warmth. "I told you I'd love you forever." I wanted to shout, "Daniel, I don't love you." But I stayed silent. I didn't want to hurt him. That night, I couldn't sleep. I stared at the ceiling, wondering where I had gone wrong and whether I'd ever feel truly alive again. The next morning, my best friend Leah called. "Clara, you sound off. Are you okay?" I paused, then whispered the truth. "I don't love Daniel. I married him to forget someone else, and now I feel trapped." Leah was quiet. Then she gently said, "Maybe you need space to understand your heart." But I shook my head. "It's not time I need, Leah. It's love, and it's not there." Later that day, I tried to talk to Daniel. "Daniel," I began, "we need to talk." But he stopped me. "I know what you're going to say," he interrupted. "Please don't give up on us. I still believe we can make this work." His hope crushed me. I was tired of pretending. It felt like I was carrying a weight every single day. Then came a moment I didn't expect. One Sunday, Daniel asked, "Do you want to have a baby? I think it will bring us closer." My heart froze. The thought of having a child with someone I didn't love terrified me. I quietly replied, "I'm not ready." He nodded, visibly hurt, but didn't argue. And that only made me feel worse. That night, I wrote in my journal, "I feel like I'm drowning. Daniel deserves someone who truly loves him, but that's not me." I also wrote, "If I leave, will everyone say I didn't try hard enough? Will they call me selfish?" One evening, I packed a small bag. I planned to leave. I stood by the door, watching Daniel sleep. He looked so peaceful. I couldn't do it. I put the bag down and cried silently on the floor. The next morning, he made coffee, kissed my cheek, and said, "Good morning, my love. I still believe in us." His words pierced my heart. I wanted to scream, "Please stop hoping." But I stayed quiet again. Days passed. I went to work, came home, smiled at Daniel, and continued the act. One Saturday, he surprised me with 2 movie tickets. "Let's go out tonight, just the 2 of us," he said. I nodded, even though my heart wasn't in it. At the theater, he held my hand, laughed, and looked at me with hope in his eyes. I forced a smile. I felt like a ghost. After the movie, he asked, "That was fun, right?" I said, "Yeah, it was nice," but I felt nothing. Later, we sat on the couch with tea. He whispered, "I missed you, Clara." I looked away. I didn't respond. The next morning, I met Leah by the lake. The sky was gray and the wind was cold. "Clara, you look so tired," she said. I nodded and told her everything again. "I feel like I'm living in a box with no door," I confessed. "Daniel is a good man. Everyone will hate me if I hurt him." Leah squeezed my hand and said, "No one else can live your life. If you're not happy, you have to be honest, with him and with yourself." That night, Daniel sat beside me and said softly, "You've been so quiet. I feel like I'm losing you." I wanted to tell the truth, but I just said, "Work's been busy." He nodded. I saw the pain in his eyes. The next week, Daniel planned a weekend trip to Lake Crescent. "Maybe some time away will help," he said. I didn't want to go, but again, I said yes. The lake was peaceful. The sky was clear, but inside I was empty. That night in the hotel, Daniel handed me a small box. Inside was a necklace with a heart-shaped charm. "This is my heart," he said. "It's yours." I whispered, "Thank you," tears stinging my eyes, not from joy but guilt. I didn't deserve his love. While he slept, I sat on the floor beside the bed and cried in silence. I remembered the beginning, the kindness, the support after Julian, the smiles. But I never felt love. I married Daniel because I was broken. I didn't want to be alone. But now I know it's worse to be with someone and feel nothing than to be alone and healing. When we returned to Seattle, I started writing letters to myself. I didn't show them to anyone. One said, "Clara, you are not a bad person. You made a mistake from pain, not hate, but now you must be brave." Another said, "Daniel is kind, but he is not your home. You can't give him what he needs." Writing helped me face the truth. I didn't have all the answers, but I knew I couldn't keep living this lie. It took me 2 more weeks to gather the courage. Every day, I looked at Daniel and thought, how do I hurt someone who's never hurt me? But deep down, I knew the longer I stayed, the more painful it would be for both of us. One evening, I came home early from work. I didn't wait for dinner. I didn't wait for the right moment. Because the truth is, there's no perfect time to break someone's heart. He was reading a book on the couch, his glasses slightly slipping down his nose. I sat beside him, trembling. "Daniel," I said, my voice low. He looked up. "Yes, love." I stared at him for a second, then looked away. "We need to talk, and this time, I need you to really listen." He closed the book. I saw worry in his eyes. He didn't say a word. He just waited. I took a deep breath. "You are a good man, a kind man, and I respect you more than words can say. But I don't love you the way you deserve to be loved." He blinked slowly, his jaw tightening. "I tried," I continued. "I tried every day. But I feel like I'm living someone else's life. I don't want to pretend anymore. You deserve someone who loves you fully, not someone who's always trying to catch up to your heart." He stayed silent. Tears welled in his eyes, but he didn't let them fall. "So, "That's it?" he finally asked, voice shaking. I nodded, tears rolling down my cheeks. "I'm sorry, Daniel. I truly am. I thought time would change things, but it didn't. And staying now, it's not fair to you, or to me." He stood up, walked to the window, and stared outside for a long moment. Then, without turning around, he whispered, "Did you ever love me?" I swallowed the lump in my throat. "No, not the way you loved me." He exhaled sharply, and I could hear the pain in that breath. But he didn't shout. He didn't blame me. He just nodded quietly. "Thank you," he said, "for being honest." That night, I packed a small suitcase, not because he asked me to leave, but because I needed to find myself. For the first time in a long time, I wasn't running from something. I was walking towards the truth. As I closed the door behind me, I heard Daniel's voice one last time. "I hope someday someone loves you the way I loved you." And I cried, not because I was leaving a man, but because I was leaving behind the version of myself who stayed silent for too long. Months later, I moved into a small apartment overlooking the bay. Life was quiet. Some days were hard, some nights were lonelier than I expected. But there was also peace. There was space to breathe, to grow. I started writing again, journaling, reading poetry, walking by the water in the mornings. And one day, I looked at my reflection, and I saw a woman who was no longer pretending. I don't know what the future holds. Maybe love will find me again, maybe not. But for now, I have myself, and that's enough. If you enjoyed this story, please like, subscribe, and share.